First time having you on. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
My name's Brian Gambell, owner of Gambler Rigs. I fish out of Sandy Creek in Hamlin, New York.
Okay.
I fish everything. Salmon fish, brown trout fish, lake trout fish, everything.
What end of the lake is that on?
It's West Central, Monroe County, Northwest Monroe County.
All right, perfect.
This is a real feel good story.
Yeah.
He's a long timer. He's always lived near the lake. Saw a niche, a tremendous niche opportunity, and he's ran with it. People like to make fun of lake trout, but everybody's got tackle for lake trout.
Right.
And along the way, they got big. So we got some big lakers now, and he's very good at catching them, and he's makes products specifically for it. And if you want to ask him for questions on that, this is the guy.
All right. Well, tell me about Gambler Rigs. What is it? What does it do?
I make spin and glow rigs with a skirt on them.
Okay.
I custom paint colors. Yakima has a big selection, but a lot of it's West Coast colors and odd colors that aren't conducive to Lake Ontario. So I custom paint a lot of stuff. And I also make a thing called a death trap. It's an attractor like a cowbell. They're very popular on Lake Erie. Trying to get them out in Michigan more and Lake Ontario. Slowly gaining progress in Michigan. The Ontario guys are stuck on cowbells, but I sell those too, but I don't make them.
Yeah. So that's really interesting. How do you get into something like that where you're like, you know what? I want to get into making lake trout loops.
Catching lake trout's a passion of mine. I was looking at manufacturers popping up in Michigan. We had nobody here. And I started making them and I started selling them. And really now it's a lot of fun. I meet a lot of really cool people and come to shows. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And I'm sitting here today and listening to these guys across the hallway talking about catching greasers.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of a kind of a negative connotation to it. And Vince brought it up too. And it's, you're on Lake Ontario, the guys come out, they want to catch kings. They want to catch salmon. What is it about the lake trout that makes it special to you?
It's always there. When those kings aren't there, you have a backup plan of lake trout. If the brown trout aren't there, the lake trout are there. They're always there. I could go out now and fish where I fish in the summer. There's lake trout there. They're always there. It's reliable. So you're not going out and catching nothing. You can always have that backup plan of lake trout fishing.
They're really fun to catch too.
They are. And now I got a 14-year-old kid, and he brings his buddies out, and they have a riot.
Yeah. They're fun to catch. And the other thing that I like about lake trout, I live 2 hours from Lake Superior, and we have a little different strain up there. They're gorgeous. I mean, the coloration, they're beautiful.
Yeah, especially a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's something that I've seen. I'm not in an area where we have lake trout all the time, but they do migrate through there, and the strains have changed. So a lot of the negative connotation comes from years past. They are a prettier color. They're built differently, and they do the favorite thing of all anglers, take drag a lot of times, especially in cold water. And one of the things for being a charter captain that I'd like to point out about his products is cowbells will always be number one, but they're best run near the bottom.
Yep.
His grease trap rigs can be run suspended.
They're very effective on suspended fish.
Have you been to Lake Superior?
I have not. I do have a goal of fishing and catching a lake trout in every Great Lake.
Yeah.
I've done it in Erie in Ontario.
Are you shipping lures up there?
I ship all over the United States and Canada.
Are people in that area though seeing what you're doing and kind of going, hey, this is something different. This is something I want to give a shot to?
I have a couple captains on the west side of Michigan that came to me 3 or 4 years ago. You're like, nobody does what you do here with the cowbells. Help me. So I walked them through it, and they saw the light. A lot of guys on Michigan, they're dodgers and flashers, and I've done it. It's not as effective. I wait till late in the day till the Lakers are glued to the bottom, and I target them on the bottom. It's the easiest time to catch them. It's the easiest way to catch them. You got to slow the boat down, but it's very effective.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you on that. Is how do you fish them?
Low and slow.
Low and slow.
Cowbells really limit.
Beastie Boys had a song called Low and Slow.
Cowbells are really what limits your speed. They will hit at faster speeds, but cowbells 1/8 or slower at the ball. It's crucial. And, you know, a big thing I stress to guys too is direction control is huge. You might be doing the right speed. Those Lakers do not like to chase some days into the current. So you got to turn the boat around. I'll troll a 4-mile stretch, pick up and run back and drop in and redo it. Because I'm not going to troll back 4 miles and catch 2 fish. I'd rather troll the direction they want to eat at and go with what they want.
I set on that piece of paper.
So we're gonna have someone on tomorrow to talk about lake trout tracking in Lake Ontario.
Yeah, I already caught one of their fish over the summer.
Did you? Tell me about that.
Casey had him down off the port where I fish, and Casey called me, where should I take these guys to get tags on lake trout? So I gave them some areas to fish, and they fished them, and they tagged, I don't remember how many lake trout. So it was about a month later. We were trolling Watoma Shoals. I catch a laker. I see the Floyd tag in it. I flip it over. It's got the satellite tag stitches in its stomach. I pull the tag out of it and let it go and called it in, and it was tagged right where I caught it. So it hadn't really gone anywhere.
That's crazy. That's interesting. And you talked about migrating. What is a lake trout's life like? I mean, how much moving around do they do? And you said that you caught it right where they tagged it a month ago. What is a year in the life?
He's
of a-
fishing one of the finest pieces of structure on the South Shore.
Yeah.
And that, you know, big lake trout will find that.
Yes. That area, if you look at a map of Lake Ontario, Watoma Shoals to Braddock's Bay, there's so much structure, 40 to 130 feet of water. It just holds big lake trout year round. But I always thought they were more homebodies. We see the migration when it's at the Niagara in the spring come down. But of course, I talked to the guys from USGS, and I guess they travel way more than I always thought.
Yeah. And is it something where you see like smaller fish moving around more and the bigger fish are more hanging out? I mean, is there any rhyme or reason to that?
I think it's all of them. The one I caught that they had tagged was the smallest one they caught in the survey. It was like a 7-pounder, and it really didn't go anywhere. I mean, I gave them GPS coordinates and said that fish was caught right there.
They like food.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They do
big time.
a lot.
Yeah.
So the attraction in the spring, you know, the Niagara River would be not so much for the temperature, because like he said, you can go out there in the winter. They don't have to be glued to the bottom where it's the warmest. They'll be in cold water. But if there's food there, then that's why the river is attracting various species of spawning bait going in and out. So they're there early. And then as that warms up, they're going to get out of there, go deep, and move west and east. They get a big movement towards St. Catharines, Canada, and they get a big movement to the east.
And it's something that, you know, they're doing the study, you know, lake trout are native to the Great Lakes. And it's something that a lot of states seem to be, even though some fishermen, like the guy across the hallway here, didn't have a lot of good things to say about them. But it's something that I think that a lot of these government agencies want to see this population grow because it's a native species to the Great Lakes.
New York seems to do a better job. Like I read what's going on in Michigan, and they're just piling them in. The DEC does a good job of a good balance to keep the salmon fishery what it is, in my opinion, and the lake trout population good, but not overtaking the salmon population.
Agreed.
Right.
Agreed.
And that's big.
And I think Wisconsin tries to have a better balance. You know, Pacific salmon are a heck of a generator, a heck of an economic generator, and people want to catch that.
Yeah.
Yeah, without
Trout
salmon, I
fill
wouldn't
a-
have a business.
Yeah, the lake trout fill a valuable niche. I mean, the season's extended, and they play an important role in different ports. Because salmon can be here today and gone tomorrow. And for a guy that has limited time to fish, you know, he's glad they're there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things that we see with our guys in Wisconsin and in Illinois is, you know, maybe right when the sun comes up, they're banging a couple kings, a couple coals, but midday it can be really pretty rough bite out there, and especially the charter guys, they really depend on those Lakers to get the numbers to make sure that their guests go home happy.
And that's when the bite shines.
Yeah.
10:30 to 2:30 is my best window because they were suspended all morning at first light, and they come down to the bottom. They're easy pickings. 2 rods is all I run.
Yeah.
Cowbells on the bottom, and It's as fast as you can get them down.
You know, a lot of the people here at the show and a lot of people that are watching right now are very avid fishermen. But you know, you think of the people that are walking the docks in Florida, and they're excited to see a couple of mahi, and they go out and they might get, you know, on a tougher day, they might not even all get a fish. You know, when they come to the Great Lakes and wow, they see a pile of lake trout come in, which is an everyday occurrence in like Lake Huron, and people are waiting on the docks to get to go when the other group gets in. So, you know, it's everything's relative. We're fortunate here in Lake Ontario that we have the Pacific salmon, but you know, little by little, there's some big fish. Talk about some of your better ones.
The biggest I caught was in 2012. It was 34.6. It hit a spinning glow, one of my rigs behind a hammerhead cowbell, 128 feet of water on the backside of Potomac Shoals.
Wow.
We thought we had a king at first.
Yeah.
It was glued to the bottom, but then it took 200 feet of line off, and I'm like, if this is a Laker, this is a good one. And it came up, and it was one fish away from winning the whole LLC. And, you know, getting over like 23 pounds in Lake Ontario is tough. If you got one over 23, it's special. You know, I've caught a couple over 25, but lots in the 20 to 23 pound range.
Where's your favorite place other than your home water to go chase lake trout?
It's the only place I go to
It's the only
chase lake
place you
trout.
go?
Potomac Shoals to Lighthouse Point is like a lake trout mecca.
Yeah.
They're always there, huge numbers. They're in the same areas. You know, if you go in shallow, you could catch 6 to 10 pound lake trout all day. We stay outside them, catch fewer, but target bigger fish.
How deep a water in the shallow?
Usually 80, 90 foot, you know, in the summertime, unless the thermocline's deeper. But 120 is a depth range Lakers are at probably 95% of the season. You can go to 120 anytime and there's Lakers there.
Yeah.
But I'll fish them deeper. You know, you get out 140, 150. I don't like to do it because a lot of them don't survive. And you're going to catch bigger fish out there, but you can't kill all these big fish.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing about lake trout. We talk about salmon all the time. Well, at 4 years old, they're dead. You know, and these lake trout that you're catching, especially when you're talking about a 32-pound fish, it's probably older than you.
It was 27 years old. I had it aged by the DEC. It was 27. At the time, I was 32. I was like, oh, cow.
Yeah.
It's almost as old as me. But, you know.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I know we've got Lakers in Lake Superior out of there. They've been around for 40, 50 years. And it's crazy to think about that fish has survived that long between people trying to catch it and everything else that's going on in the lake that can possibly kill a fish. You know, it's pretty amazing that they live that long.
But a 27-year-old fish did not have a lamprey scar, which was very surprising.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But a lot of those real big ones, I don't know why. I don't know if it's they stay deeper. Very few of them had any scars on them over the years.
Probably the lamprey have enough targets shallower.
Yeah.
Too cold. Have you ever? I know for me, I love to watch YouTube videos on just different destinations. Have you ever thought about going to Standard Rock?
Yeah.
If you're a lake,
I got a
trout guy, that's
customer
where you gotta go.
that goes up.
I'm an absolute salmon fiend,
Yep.
and I want to go to Standard Rock.
Yeah. So big lighthouse off the UP in Michigan, and it's a 50-mile rip out there, and there are some old Lakers out there, and big reef, like you say, and it's just a really cool place. Look it up on Wikipedia. It's the loneliest place in the world, they call it. So
got to have good weather to get there.
got to have good weather. You got to pick your day. And one of the guides I know that goes out there, he's like, if you want to do a Standard Rock trip, you pretty much have to book me for 5 days. And we're going to fish if we can't get to Standard Rock, but like it may take us 5 days to get a day where we can get out there because it's just, you're going 60 miles over Lake Superior waters. It can be tough, but I think if you're a Laker person, like you guys said, I mean, if that is the place to go for lake trout, it's just the idea of getting to a place where other people aren't fishing. I think is pretty insane and exciting to think about.
And you know that for hundreds of years they've been there.
Yeah. The lighthouse went up about 100 years ago, 120 years ago, but that rock has been there forever. You know. So it's just a cool place. Brian, anything else that you want to talk about before I let you go here today?
Big thing I stress in my, like I'm doing 2 seminars this weekend, catch and release. A lot of guys horse them up. You can't horse them up. You'll have a dead fish every time. You know, using cowbells, it does slow them down. So you bring them up slow, get them off, get them back quick. You know, they're a fragile fish, but if they're treated right, you're not going to have a lot of, you know, mortality with them.
Yeah, especially when we get into the summer months.
Yeah.
That water temperature at the surface is warmer. That can be an issue for them.
Yeah.
This time of year, the water the way it is, you can get away with a little bit more.
Yeah.
Very cool, man. I
All right.
really appreciate you stopping.
Thanks for the
in,
opportunity.
And, it was fun to have you. And again, if you want to know more about Brian's product, you can go to gamblerrigs.com. Is Brian Gambell.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thanks for coming, buddy.
Thanks, Vince.